Hello again, everyone. How are you all? So this is the third week of going through the 10th anniversary sort of celebration, in a way, of our first album. And so we're this week we're going to look at track 3, which is Willow and the Ghost. And we've always sort of told this sort of little anecdotal story about this song when we play it, that when we first started out, we'd go to a lot of the more traditional folk clubs, and they'd see us sort of wheeling in, the speakers and bits of electronica, and sort of there'd be this sharp intake of breath, like, what are you? We're a folk club, and we joke that, like, we sort of learnt quite quickly that they did forgive you most things in a folk club, as long as you had a song about sort of, the First World War and something sort of suitably folkloric from the past. And it also helped if you had a song about a ghost, and that we went off and quickly wrote a ghost story. Well, this is it. This is the ghost story that we wrote in a bid to sort of, like, appease the some of the more sort of traditional folk clubs that we were playing in. It's interesting how things have changed, actually. I can remember us doing a show with this album, our first album. We'd got a headline slot. Goodness knows how at that point we'd got a headline slot, but we had at the Holmfirth Folk Festival, and we were playing in the church in the centre of Holmfirth, and we were kind of set up on the steps of the altar, and it was packed. It was a great festival. It still is a great festival, and you could literally, put a marker down the centre of where the aisle of the church was. It was kind of like the audience was so split. Half of them were loving what we were doing, and half of them were hating it. So, and I suppose we really struggled quite a bit with that, with this first record, because we were, trying to sort of walk this line between the traditional and the modern that, some people were really uncomfortable with, and yet others really embraced. I remember a very famous sort of folk and roots magazine that refused to review this first album because they said it wasn't folk enough, which, is quite interesting, really. But that's the kind of thing we were up against at the time, and I think it's really interesting that over the course of even this last 10 years or so, that, how much things have changed and how much more people have embraced the idea of more modernisation in the genre. I mean, we weren't, I'm not trying to say that we were some sort of groundbreaking, there were others had done, this kind of thing before, but, we were just a variation on that concept. But anyway, so Willow and the Ghost was a sort of a little bit of an appeasement in a way, and it is a ghost story. It's a very simple. What we wanted to do with this first record was keep things very simple. What songs survive over the years? Nursery rhymes, hymns, and some of the better folk songs. They're always very, very simple. And so it was very, very simple song, really simple melody that was at the heart of this song, but then something darker in the lyrics. And obviously this is a story about a young boy being haunted by a memory, and I suppose I was trying to play with the idea: is the ghost actually a tangible, physical thing, or is it actually his own conscience that is haunting him? And that's kind of the play, the tension that I was trying to get at, certainly within the lyrics of the song. But I think it's a lovely kind of musical arrangement. It's a great balance of, of instruments. I love the kind of arpeggiated synthesizer and mixed with the organic sort of the banjo and the guitar. I think it's a really lovely recording. This is one of my favourite sort of actual recordings. And what you're going to watch now is the song itself, and this is, you know, was I remember Simon did this video, and you know, put a lot of work into it, and that idea of mixing bits of animation in with live footage of us, all recorded, by the way. We put up in, but we pinned up in Andy's flat. In North Manchester, in Blakely, we pinned up some sort of like kind of interesting Victorian type wallpaper to the wall, and then stood in front of it to make it look like we were in a stately home or something. And it was recorded at sort of a double speed and then slowed down to give it that sort of ethereal feel to it. So without further ado, you're going to now watch the video to Willow and the Ghost, track 3 off our first album, Harp and a Monkey. Enjoy. Thank you.
Underneath the willow, sat beside the stream, thought I saw a young girl waiting there for me. I could not be sure, something wasn't right. It's kept me from my sleep for too many nights. Walking home from your house just the other night, I swear I saw that young girl, gave me quite a fright. She walked down to the willow, sat beside the stream. Before she disappeared, she seemed to smile at me. She waits for me alone. 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 It was long ago now, I was just a child. I sneaked out through the back door, where the stream runs wild. There I saw a young girl slip into the deep. I didn't say a word, but her face haunts all my dreams.